Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. I want to talk all about the advice for younger individuals who are going through OCD or other anxiety-based disorders such as PTSD, GAD, panic disorder, body dysmorphic disorder. I want to talk about some of the common pitfalls that younger generations are falling into and these kind of black and white beliefs that social media is portraying, why it's so easy to get caught up in the me versus you mentality, and why usually the answers are always lying in the middle and balance, holding opinions without holding them in a strong manner and that black and white belief. Because unfortunately right now, the biggest channels, whether it's male, female, any big topics, mental health, politics, money, religion, these conversations that we're seeing, the ones on social media, as I like to say, usually the loudest voices, and some of the points are really, really good. I try to take stuff from everyone I listen to, but it's the delivery, the black and whiteness. It's one that's kind of setting you up for some problems. So I'm out in another field again. This time I'm by a skate park, so there's two half pipes right there, big indoor arena, stuff like this. A very interesting skate park. It's not in the best area of Colorado Springs, and there's been shootings at that exact one, so that's always good for some exposures for some people when they go near places and maybe not go to the best areas, and because they're petrified of not being in a safe place and stuff like that. So that's really good. Before I go any further, please subscribe, hit that like button, comment down below, let me know what you think about this video, and then we can break it down a little bit further. I'm going to try to kind of walk around a little bit because the sun is getting really hot, and I can tell if I look that way, it's going to be directly in my eyes. So the first thing we're going to do, and by the way, this video is also for parents as well. So if you find this and you have a son or a daughter who has really, really bad OCD, or they have other anxiety-based problems, when they're labeling themselves as an introvert, and you're like, I don't know what's going on. They keep saying they're an introvert. They don't want to leave their room. They want to stay inside and play video games all day. The first and most important thing to remember is we're not going to be able to change anyone. The only thing we can do from a parent's perspective is be compassionate and have empathy, right? And use that in a balanced way with tough love. Too much empathy and too much compassion is actually quite problematic, just like too much tough love is actually problematic as well, because then you lose that area of like, oh, I need it to be this way and everything like that. And that ends up being a problem in of itself. So it is really important to remember that. So let's look at some structure things that are really important for the younger generations. Scrolling on TikTok 4 to 6 hours a day is a problem. Playing video games for hours among hours all day long. Sleeping in till 12, 1, 2, 3 in the afternoon, that's a problem. Skipping bunches of meals and only relying on energy drinks. G Fuel is a big one, video game one, specifically young kids know a lot about G Fuel. And then just eating like really bad food, like fast food all the time. And again, it's not that the energy drinks are inherently bad. It's not that the fast food is inherently bad. The balance is key. If you have those as the majority of the staple of your diet, there's probably going to be a problem. But all of these things, we're not here to talk about the health specifically, but just the low frustration tolerance behaviors that the younger kids are just falling into over and over and over again. So it is really important to cover that particular aspect of it. So you don't want to, there's no easy way to describe this. We don't have to take away social media because social media is part of our lives. And as human nature goes, when someone's 16 years old, they're not in a place where they're thinking about their thinking too much, which adds a level of difficulty and not impossible to recover, right? But just another layer of difficulty, just like when someone comes in who's 60, they have the other layer where they're like, I've been stuck for 40 years, you can't help me, which isn't true either. So there's a lot of self-limiting beliefs there that are very just conditional in nature. So, but the balance is key. If you're a parent watching this, you could set some rules and guidelines with consequences. A lot of people are just consequences averse because they feel it's confrontational, but it is important. One of my favorite statements is, you're parenting your children, you're not being their friends. Being your friend can come later in life. Parents who take the tough road of being a parent. Now, it's important to say that I don't have kids, so I have no practical experience with this, but doing enough coaching with kids that are younger and working with parents, I can definitely see the difference of the parents who apply the consequences and the tough love approach from an anecdotal perspective than the ones who don't, and that's really important. The other thing too, and this is specifically for you younger individuals, right now, there's a lot of names out there on social media with millions and millions of followers, and they have these big podcasts, and they're always talking about the big debates in the world and everything like that. balance on this is key. I have fallen into this myself many times. Political ones, you're a young kid and you feel like you don't have a lot of direction in your life. And then you're saying, I really want to get on board with this particular view. No problem with that. Anyone can hold any view they want. But as Albert Ellis, the creator of all the principles that we use, states, it's not the view itself, it's the rigidity of the view that you're using that's getting you into trouble. That's the number one thing. So if you're holding a belief, say you have a belief about the way the world should be run on some topic, and you're like, this is the way it's gotta be, you're really setting yourself up for disaster long term, because what you're doing is you're not going to be willing to have a conversation. Now, there's a lot of big names out there we can all think of from a male perspective. I'm speaking to the male right now, the men. The big names in psychology, the big names in talk show hosts on social media. It's a slippery slope. Very black and white. No open-mindedness, lots of talking about the people that think they're open-minded are really not as open-minded as you think, because if you bring up maybe you have a belief about that you don't think marriage is the best option. But then you go to someone like this and they're like, well, you're an idiot because the research shows this and that, and hedonistic views or this, blah, 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 blah. And we're not saying that view is the better view. We're just saying that individual has a view about, say, being maybe in an open marriage, or maybe living in like a Mormon culture, you have multiple wives. Perspectives and beliefs drive everything. And the rigidity of the beliefs that you're holding as a younger individual are the ones that are going to keep you kind of in that, this is the way it should be. It shouldn't be anywhere else. I'm right, you're wrong. So that is super important to think about that. Now, you got to look at your life structure, okay? Working out, for an example, a lot of these younger people, they're like, I want to dedicate my whole life to working out and fitness. Again, if you think you have a career in that, most of you don't. It's a reality. It's very important to cover that. Usually if someone wants to make a total career out of fitness, for an example, they know it when they're really young. Most people don't have the genetic capacity anyway. It's important to say that. A lot of people don't want to hear that stuff anymore. You younger individuals, you kind of want everything kind of telling you the way it should be. Oh, no, I should be hearing it like that. That's not true. Anyone that watches, if you're a young guy and you want to get into bodybuilding, the Ronnie Colemans, the Phil Heaths, they have genetics that most of you are never going to even be able to come close to. They have 100 times better genetics than you. That doesn't mean you can't work with what you have. That's what unconditional self-acceptance is, accepting what you have and then working towards your goals. But it's important to realize you waking up, eating 6 meals a day and going to the gym is not really working. It's not working itself. That's not a career for most of you. So many of you are living this very superficial, flat life where it's like, I'm going to wake up, I'm going to ice plunge, I'm going to do all that. That's not work. Real work is, and I don't like to use the real work because you could debate that too. It's just not probably good for long-term sustainability when it comes to building a career path. It's important to highlight that. I know many of you don't want to hear that. It doesn't mean you can't go to the gym 5 days a week, 6 days a week. I go to the gym for 2 hours a day, 5 days a week, 5 o'clock in the morning, get there by 5:30. I hike on the weekends, walking in the field right now, this beautiful field, got the mountains getting a little covered right now. You can see the snow kind of, if you can, popping up right there. So really cool stuff. So looking at your exercise and your nutrition, look at that and go, hey, how's this looking? How am I using TikTok? TikTok's a big one for you guys. Very instant gratification. I rarely meet anyone change their life by TikTok. The other thing that's important to say is many people say stuff like, oh, well, I'm getting all this information, but then they're not applying it. I like to call humans information gatherers. So for you young men and women, you're watching this, maybe you're watching a female you like or a guy you like, or a mixture of both, and you're like, yeah, this is great. And you're watching it over and over and over again. Nothing inherently wrong with that. But then you're not applying anything. You're not doing anything with that knowledge. You're just letting that knowledge sit and sit and sit and sit and sit. And you're thinking about it and you think it's cool and you talk about it. But then your life doesn't change because you never apply it. That is such an important piece to remember when you're going through OCD and anxiety recovery. One of my favorite things by Tony Robbins is the best way to crush procrastination is immediate action. I'll give you an example. I just left a marketing group that I run in the mornings, and I have a little bit of time, and I brought my tripod. I keep this one in the car now, and I'm like, you know what? Boom. Making a video, going to the park because I got to go somewhere up the street over here, and I just came from down there, and I had an hour, and I turned the camera on and made a video. Now I enjoy making content, but there's sometimes where I don't enjoy making content, but I try to get that done because it's a good characteristic trait for building frustration tolerance. So, the main thing, like I said, you want to look at social media usage. Are you going to the gym? Are you thinking that gym and nutrition and bodybuilding is life? It's not life. Sacrificing your life for looks is not really a sacrifice. It's actually control. But many people mask it with a sacrifice, like it's the ultimate sacrifice. I know you young guys think that. And females too, but primarily young men. The big thing with the Fits Expo and wanting to be in the best shape and Fits Life and all that. It's great. It's great structure. It's just important to remember it's usually not going to make you any money long term, and it's not your life. If you make money off it, that's great, but there's also things that are important in life outside of that. So it is important to think about that. Like again, look at your work, look at your university. Maybe you want to go to a trade school like a plumber. Look at ways that you can build true skills in life that aren't sitting in a dimly lit room playing video games. And then falling into the other behaviors too that younger kids are falling into, right? A lot of vaping going around, right? The Juuls and stuff like that. You're going to college parties and you want to fit in. Trust me, I was there. I was a fucking maniac when I was 19 years old. But, I turned things around because I realized I'm really going down the path I don't want to go down. You're going to make mistakes. You're young. You're not going to get it down. You think you know everything. I thought I knew everything. Everyone thinks they know everything, right? Even the people that are like, I'm pretty open-minded, all of us to a degree, we think we know a lot more than we do because it's a natural human perspective to think that. But you really have to think beyond that and go, maybe I don't know as much as I think I know. And then you go from that. So younger individuals, don't forget that. Parents, big summary is, compassion and empathy mixed with tough love. Don't think tough love doesn't have any applicability. It does. I've seen it day in, day out with people I work with, moms, boyfriend, husbands, girlfriends, brothers, etc. And also remembering that, the compassion and empathy is key. They are going through a very serious disorder. OCD is no joke, especially at the chronic level. It's important to get them the correct help, usually by people that really understand OCD, the ins and outs, and most of them have usually been there. There is a difference between mild OCD and chronic OCD. Most of the stuff you're going to read online is about on OCD from the mild level, and those principles just won't really work long term. So thank you so much again, everyone, mom, dad, brother, sister, whoever's watching this. And you younger individuals, really look at your life structure. Remember that it doesn't matter if all your kids or all your friends are doing one thing and they want to do that. Again, you want to go out and live life a little bit. You're young, right? You may be 18, 19, 20. You want to go out, get a little crazy. I get that. But the balance is key, and just remembering it from that perspective. Always a pleasure. Remember, Phil@OCDrecovery.com. Again, that is Phil@OCDrecovery.com. And we look to hear from you. Have a good one, everyone.